Welcome to the program, Brandon Routh.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, happy to be talking with you today. Of course, Out of Order, a fun, broad comedy. A lawyer who, in an attempt to get his girlfriend back to prove that he's a serious lawyer, takes a job at a big time law firm while not leaving his current law job and ends up in a case against himself. Who hasn't been there? We've all been there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Happens
definitely.
every day, all the time for
Exactly.
me.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't doubt it, man. I don't
At
doubt it.
least once. It's happened once.
Yes. But like what I love is that, as the main character John, he creates this whole persona Jack. And it's his kind of version of what a successful, serious lawyer would be. What was it like for you to create a character's character?
Yeah. Create a character's character. That's an interesting way of saying it. It was character's character. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Sorry. That was the most. I mean, some of the most fun is John pretending to be Jack, pretending to be what he thinks is, a fancy, hotshot lawyer. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun to just be ridiculous. That's my favorite thing to do, is to be silly and ridiculous, and I got to do that a big time with him.
Yeah, it's interesting because I look back at some of your previous roles. Like not a few years ago, you were on The Rookie playing a really dark, dangerous guy. But here, John and slash Jack, Jacques, whichever name we want to choose in the moment, is
Right.
as you said, he's a very fun, nice person. And you've played other characters like that. Is that a character type that you are drawn to personally?
Well, it's very hard for me because I'm much more like no, I'm have to do
Yeah.
that joke. I was saying I'm much more like Daniel. I can't remember his last name now. I couldn't remember his last name in my character in the rookie. Stanton, Doug Stanton.
Yeah.
Doug Stanton. Daniel Shaw, Doug Stanton.
Yeah.
Both those are both bad guys.
Bad.
In Chuck, my character, but DS. So watch out for those initials.
Yeah.
Means you're going to be a bad guy. No, I mean I'm much more like John, less like Jacques or Jack. I'm much more like John, much more like Clark, much more like a lot of the characters, much more like Ray Palmer than the hero side. I mean, I contain multitudes, but what people get most readily is the kind of silly, energetic Brandon. I hope.
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
of course, that's the thing. There's a high level of sincerity in most of your parts, and
Well,
I
thank
feel
you.
like because of that, we can follow John through this broad comedy because it gets kind of crazy. There's a bit of
Yeah.
slapstick and stuff like that. A lot of physical comedy. Was it the physical comedy, or was it the sincerity of the character that attracted you more to the part?
Great question. It was comedy period that really drew me to it. And I knew that in order to do it, I would have to be sincere. So it was that combination of being like, knowing, like having such a, I felt when I first time I read the script, was like, I know what this can be. And I feel like I know what the comedy of this is. And I'm excited to dig in and like make this guy, both these guys, big. Um, and the only way to do that, yes, is if he has sincere belief in what he's doing. Anytime you have something big, like I just did this zany comedy a month, and I had to like find how can I be, how can I hold the line of truth for the character so that the audience isn't like, why are we following this guy? This is a ridiculous premise. But if I can lock in and I can be there, then hopefully the audience can too. And so it's similar with this movie, which is very out there in some ways.
Yeah, no, it helps, draw us in and, try to identify with, the thought process of job. Because who hasn't had a situation where they want to try and win back, a girlfriend or get a new job or like all those things? It's like,
Who hasn't
you're,
had two amazing women both
well, there's
wanting it?
that
Yeah,
too, right? Like, but, one of the things that I also really found fun to watch you perform is the physicality of it all. Like there's a lot of like pratfalls and whatnot, but then there's also just you running back and forth
Thank you.
and back and forth, and you're wearing all the gear, the wig, and like taking
Yeah.
up. I got to imagine the costume people must have been working overtime because of you got to be sweating that whole time running around like that.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of wardrobe changes. It was not my favorite thing to change in and out of wardrobe, but it was part of the job, so I suck it up. Yeah, I thank you for that. I appreciate that you recognize that. That was one of the fun bits when we got to the courtroom section. Is every time I entered the room, I wanted to do something silly or something different, and I didn't always know what it was going to be, and so that was the fun on the day was to find. I spill all the papers out, or I try to climb over the thing and then I fall off of it, or even the bit with Sam and I, Sam Huntington, who's fantastically amazing in this film as my right hand man. Where we have the bit with the glasses, right. And my glasses are off and or they're on, and it was supposed to be like we're supposed to wrestle, and we're like, that's too much to wrestle. How can we make it work? And we finally figured out what it was on the day. That's particular physicality of him trying to put my glasses on, take my glasses off, and whatever it was. Anyway, is a funny moment, and it was there on the day. And then figuring out how I was going to go into the bathroom stall and exit it each time with something silly. So I worked with a lot of the background extras. To kind of like make a little comedic moment each time I came in and out of the bathroom.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of great moments in this, and you brought up a lot about finding it and finding it on the day. Of course, you guys had like a week of rehearsal beforehand, which you found new stuff in there as well. I know the whole "I'm the victim" exchange came from that rehearsal period and stuff like that. And you and Sam came up with some great bits. It must have been great that Guy and you and the rest of the cast were able to really, play with it. How you had the freedom to discover great new comedic moments that aided the story.
I think all the comedies that I've been involved in, aside from one, which was an action comedy, have had the ability to improv and to let it live and let the artists bring their unique qualities to it. And this was a testament to that, Guy allowing us to kind of find even more funny than was on the page, or to shift something, or to let us roll to really find even more stuff. And rehearsal process, we found a lot of really good stuff, which sometimes we used, and then other times we found better stuff, on the day. That's also like great casting, and bringing in somebody like Sam, who I've worked with before, twice, and I'm friends with. We just had this built-in relationship already, which is not like John and Paul's, but we could use it to just like trust each other and really go after, silly stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine that shorthand of having worked with him before, allowed you guys to play a little bit more. But then but again, him, Luis Guzman, Sandra Bernhardt, like you're surrounded by a ton of other talented people that are part of this cast. For you, like, was that just getting the slight interactions with each character here and there? Like, was that a lot of fun for you to have that experience again?
Yeah, it was great. Great to be able to work with Brooke Shields, amazing, as my boss, as Danielle, and Luis Guzman had some really fun days, and great improv. Like, we just did all kinds of banana stuff that I was just like following him and working not to like tread on his genius and just add to it. And then Sandra Bernhardt, also fantastic. We didn't have as much interaction as her being the judge, but how cool was it to have her there, and all these, wonderful actors, and on this ensemble piece. It really raises the caliber of the movie.
Yeah, no, it is a film that's a lot of fun, and I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with it. The last question I got to ask, though, because it's the whole playing this whole courtroom drama and everything, like courtroom comedy, and I got to ask, who do you think out of John and Jack would have the better chance of helping Todd Ingram from Scott Pilgrim get off and win a case against the vegan police?
Well, you'd think you'd need the bravado of Jack, but those two together, Todd and Jack, they probably wouldn't give each other room and space to talk. So you'd probably be better off with John, and it'd be a good contrast between to have a nice soft-spoken voice, I think, for Todd, and he can point out the facts that he just didn't know. He was he's just a young guy who doesn't know what nutrition is.
Yeah, poorly educated vegan. Yes,
He's uneducated. It's just about that.
Just about that. There you go. I think John would do a great job. I think you get him off totally. Well, Brandon, I want to thank you so much for talking with us. We had so much fun with this. We're so happy that it's doing so well on the festival circuit. We can't wait for more people to see Out of Order.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully, all this festivals will get us, in people's living rooms sometime soon.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Everybody else can enjoy it. Thank you for
Definitely.
helping spread the word.
No problem. Have yourself a good one, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
Yep.